Kamala Harris is the clear frontrunner, and it's not clear who, if anybody, would actually challenge her for the nomination. But the thing is that she, we talked about credibility. She's going to have to, first of all, answer the fact that she's been one of the main public validators of his health. You remember after her report, she went out there and said he is with it. He is commanding everything in the room. She's going to have to sit down and answer tough questions. If Joe Biden drops out, the first week that she is out there is going to be critical. Because if there's any signs of chinks in the armor, there are many, as you just said, there are many people in the wings that are ready to pounce as soon as she shows weakness.
So this is the biggest question facing the party now. I think Joe Biden's a goner. We'll see when he drops out. I think it'll probably be very soon. Then is Kamala Harris a freight train, or are we going to get other candidates who challenge her? And what do the Democratic voters want? So we're doing a flash poll, shows live Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. So especially for our live audience, I'm super curious what you think, given the current state of affairs. Should Kamala Harris replace Biden now, or should delegates pick the candidate at an open convention? We'll come back to that poll after you guys get a chance to vote on and get a chance to watch the story. But Yasmin, what's the latest on the situation with Kamala Harris?
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
Yeah, so the Axios reporter Alex Thompson, he's not so sure about Kamala Harris replacing Biden on the presidential ticket, in part because of her complicity in covering up his health struggles. But others in the Democratic Party and the media feel a little bit differently, made clear by the wave of articles talking about how Harris has become the favorite to take over. But before we get to that, Cenk, we gotta talk about it. Do you think that Alex Thompson has a point here?
Oh, look, my opinion on it is clear. I don't think it should be Kamala Harris at all. I would, if I was a delegate, I'd vote against her. I'd vote for someone else. We could talk about who that is in a second. In fact, we already started that. We have this thing called Operation Hope. And so if you go to tyt.com/hope, look for the category called the new candidates, and people have already started proposing a whole heap of candidates and starting to list the upsides and the downsides of each of the candidates. Governor Beshear in Kentucky, Shapiro in Pennsylvania, Governor Whitmer in Michigan, etc. Let's see who you guys think are the best candidates. But the more important than who I think should be the nominee, I think that if there's any tiny bit, and we'll always, by the way, guys, have the links to these down in the description box so you can click on it easily. And right now, as you can see, candidate picked at an open convention is at 83% already, but the voting continues. So I'm in that camp. I'm in that 83%, because the process to me is more important than the eventual candidate. Of course, I want the eventual candidate to be the strongest, but I think the process is going to pick the strongest fighter, someone who manages to win enough delegates to be the candidate. And by the way, that can be Kamala Harris. There's no reason why she shouldn't be in the mix. Of course she should. And she would have a huge advantage. Those are Biden-Harris delegates. She should be able to pick them up. But if she can't in an open convention, and other governors or anyone else convinces those Biden delegates to vote for them, well, then there's a stronger candidate. And we need the best fighter we have against Trump, because in my opinion, this isn't about feelings, this is about winning. All right, Sharon, I'm very curious what you think.
I'm the complete opposite way. I think our opportunity to pick the quote unquote strongest, as Cenk put it, it's long since passed. Both parties have disenfranchised people through the primary on down to the final candidates in this election. And if the Democrats do not, should Joe Biden drop out, pick Kamala Harris, it's an exercise in futility, because we are so divided in this country, and that includes members of the Democratic Party, that should you pass over this Black Asian woman, you can forget about even diehard, staunch Democrats, Black people coming on election day and weighing in for anyone other than her. And I think that leaves the party dead in the water.
So Sharon, that's really interesting. 2 questions for you on that. So one is, I assume you're seeing that sentiment. So, give us a sense of how you're getting that sentiment. And then secondly, you're an African American woman. Would you be offended by it? Would you say, hey, I'm not interested in the Democrats if they're not going for Kamala Harris, et cetera? So what's your personal take on it? And then what do you like? Because, and then the reason why I asked the broader question as well is because I'm not sure that I am seeing that from the African American community, but my sense is you might know better.
Well, here's the thing. Number one, I'm hearing it from, one was a delegate. I've been on radio, this was out of LA radio, and I'm hearing that from even friends. People who say, I don't really particularly like her. She just isn't my vibe, my jam. But the quickest way to unite Black women and perhaps Black men with us is to say, we're not going to give her a shot. It could be as fair as you want to paint about the process, Cenk, and pick the strongest and the delegates and all that. But it ignores the history of misogyny and racism in the Democratic Party. And should you overlook this woman, I don't know if people who look like me will be able to get over that. We will view it as here you are again. You're coming to us and depending on us to do all of your bidding. Joe Biden got in because of this or that. Joe Biden was elected because of Black women. Black women again, they put Raphael Warnock and Ossoff and all. Black women. And when it comes time to back us, if you can turn Joe Biden at his advanced stage into a winner, then there are people who look like me who will say, why the hell can't you do it with Kamala Harris? Besides, she's been there. None of these governors have her experience. None of these governors were VPs. She does. And any way that she was diminished throughout this administration is because the Joe Biden core loyalists didn't trust her and didn't want to prop her up. Again, I'm not saying I'm 10 toes down with Kamala Harris, but it's about the optics and what they mean to people who look like me.
So, look, I totally disagree in terms of who the candidate should be. And if, look, I get it. It's a history that doesn't exist with my demographic, right? So if they said to me, he's a rando Muslim male, does it have to be him? I'd be like, I don't care. I don't care at all. I don't care at all, right? But I don't have the same history as Black women in this country. But you made the best point there, Sharon, that I haven't seen anywhere else. And that's the one thing that I do find a little compelling. It's not compelling enough for me to change my position on it. But why did they pick Kamala Harris if it was just, like, it makes it feel like when they picked her to be vice president, that it was a prop. So now when the chips are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, listen, again, it's not even about whether I thought maybe perhaps there was a better candidate, okay? But yes, they picked, but that, you could say the same thing about why Barack picked Joe Biden, okay? We know why Barack picked Joe Biden, right? I mean, every candidate for president does that. But I think it, diminishes who we're talking about here. She's going to be poked and prodded, and I get it. This is an unprecedented situation, and if he has to drop out, and who's the strongest, it's too late. You already said that she should be a heartbeat away from the presidency, and if you don't follow through with that, even if she's not the strongest candidate, like if we had some secret sauce that told us the truth about not who everyone wants to back because of that misogyny and racism thing that's still out there, but if we had some secret juice that said, okay, it's official. This is some all supreme person said she is indeed the most qualified, and you were to pass her over, that is a wrap. Why should I believe in America? We have so many reasons I could tell you that people who look like me shouldn't. But why should we go to bat for you anymore? Stop using us. You made this decision and you disenfranchised us when it was Bernie versus Hillary. You said, oh, it's Hillary's turn, okay? Maybe Joe Biden would have been great all those years ago, okay, with less years on him. I don't know. And we weren't given the opportunity, were we? Did we really get the opportunity? No, it was rigged, Trump's favorite word. So if you pass her over, it's not gonna matter who you pick because people who look like me, I'm telling you, you think there's apathy now for this guy?
Yeah, the Democrats have put themselves in a totally, utterly unwinnable corner. Look, I just think Kamala Harris is going to melt on stage. She can't finish a sentence either. We're totally, utterly screwed. Okay, maybe, I hope I'm wrong. How many times do I have to say I hope I'm wrong? And unfortunately, I'm not. Just picking her without testing her is, in my opinion, an epic disaster. But Sharon's not wrong that they put themselves in this situation by saying, oh, we value you so much. Oh, well, now that you're gonna get power, we don't value you at all. That's why you should have picked based on who's the best potential VP. Anyway, Yasmin, back to you.
So while Kamala Harris has publicly shown no indication, by the way, that she even wants to replace Biden, behind the scenes, her allies have argued that she would be the right pick. According to Politico, some allies of the first Black and South Asian woman to be vice president fumed Friday about the lack of attention Harris drew as a possible replacement, not a surrogate for Biden, passed over in the Beltway chatter for the likes of Newsom, Whitmer, and even Governors J.B. Pritzker of Illinois and Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. The fact that people keep coming back to this is so offensive to so many of us, one veteran Democrat and Harris ally said. They still don't get that the message you're saying to people, to this Democratic Party, is we prefer a white person. And it seems more and more people agree that Kamala should not be overlooked. Take a look at these headlines. Here's this one from CNBC. Vice President Kamala Harris's past donors privately strategize in case Biden drops out. This next one is from CNN. Democrats start moving to Harris as Biden digs in. Here's The Guardian. Kamala Harris insiders rally behind VP to replace Biden if he bows out. Even big names are starting to line up behind Harris. Mehdi Hasan just wrote an op-ed titled, Kamala Harris may be our only hope. Biden should step aside and endorse her. Hakeem Jeffries apparently agrees. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat of New York, is signaling to members that Harris would be the best option to lead the ticket if Biden chooses to step aside, said two people familiar with this thinking who spoke on the condition of anonymity to detail private conversations. Representative Jim Clyburn has also stated that he would support Harris if Biden were to step aside. And on Wednesday, Anna actually interviewed former Congressman Tim Ryan. Here's his argument for why Kamala should replace Biden.
I don't think this is the same Kamala Harris you saw in 2020. It's been 3.5 years within the administration as vice president. And I think that's a very important thing. You all have had jobs. You grow into the job. You're better today at what you're doing than you were when you started. And I think Kamala Harris is going to be the same. From a sheer political perspective, where are we bleeding out right now? Bleeding out with young people. The different minority communities are not energized at all for us. And we've yet to really articulate and kind of prosecute the issue around choice. And I think Kamala Harris checks all of those boxes. I think she's going to rally the minority communities. I think she's going to rally a good deal of women as she begins to prosecute the pro-choice case. And most importantly, she's a generational candidate. And I think people are looking, I don't want to go with Biden. I don't want to go with Trump. We need somebody new. Let's give them somebody new. And I think most people would be impressed. And I actually think that she would do very well in working class communities like the ones I grew up in around Youngstown, Ohio, in Pittsburgh.
So with all of that said, the question remains, would she win? So let's take a look at some numbers. In a potential matchup between Harris and former President Donald Trump, Harris and Trump were nearly tied with 42% supporting her and 43% supporting the former president, according to a Ipsos poll released Tuesday. The same poll found that Biden and Trump each had 40% support. Another poll released by CNN Tuesday found that a matchup between the vice president and Trump resulted in a 45 to 47% split between Harris and Trump, compared to the 43% to 49% split between Biden and Trump. Cenk, I know you love a good poll. What do you make of all that?
I make disaster out of it. Look, is Kamala Harris going to be better than Biden? Well, literally any random Democrat in the country would be better than Biden. But is she going to win? I don't think she's our strongest candidate. I appreciate that Tim came on the show, did that interview with Anna, and it was good. And I get his point, I get everybody's point. But how does she grow into the job? What has she done? I don't know anything she's done as vice president. She just told people not to come, but they did come in terms of immigration. That was the one thing she was in charge of. I got tons and tons of salad, word salad, right? I don't know what people are talking about. Here we've got to so. Sharon, look, people are also considering Michelle Obama, another African American woman. They're considering Reverend Warnock. They're considering Governor Wes Moore. So they're obviously Gretchen Whitmer. She's a woman. I don't like. It's it feels like people are putting us in a position where we have to say like, I'm sorry, but I want to win. And so like, yeah, I get it. We're going to hurt Kamala Harris's feelings, and maybe we're going to hurt the feelings of real people who are tired of being pushed around. And I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, don't we need a candidate who's going to win?
Yeah, we do. But again, Cenk, this is the position. This is what happens when parties decide that this is some kind of private club, and at the top, they make the rules. And then they pivot to get who they want and to keep their jobs and to stay in power. Nobody was honest with us. If we believe that this is a man that has had diminished capacity for the last 2.5 years, then the people around him in that poor bubble, I'll take the first lady out of it, because when you're that close and you have that much love and someone's your family, maybe you got a blind spot. Maybe you don't want to believe. I don't know. But if he has had this for 2.5 years, those who are on the Biden gravy train and needed to make sure there is another Biden term, same ones who diminished Kamala Harris if she could have grown into a larger role, are at it. My point is, you keep talking about the best person. None of that matters. I'm telling you with as much certainty as I have, if you pass over someone that you do not see as the best candidate, Kamala Harris, it's a wrap. It is done. Reasonable, intelligent, American Black citizens will say, I would never sit home and not vote, but I might think about it.
Well, you're reporting to us what people are feeling, so that's a reality we have to deal with. There's no way around that. But there's no force on earth that's going to move me from the position of being the strongest candidate. And the strongest candidate is the one that could win all the delegates. I don't believe in anointing anyone. And the last argument I'll make is Dan Quayle was vice president for George H.W. Bush. Dan Quayle was an idiot. If something happened to George H.W. Bush, they would have never gone with Dan Quayle as the new presidential candidate. Never, because they care about winning. So Kamala Harris is not an idiot. She's perfectly smart. But something happened to her where she cannot finish a sentence. So we're all supposed to just say, so now we're screwed either way, apparently. All right, well, let's go to what you guys think. 79-21, candidate picked at an open convention. So we'll see if the Democratic Party listens to you guys, but they don't have a good track record of it. But whatever you do, go to tyt.com/hope and start talking about the other candidates as well, because we have to vet them, right? What are the upsides and downsides of Kamala Harris? What are the upsides and downsides of Jamie Raskin, Whitmer, Newsom, etc.? Put links in there. Put links, here's what Governor Beshear did in Kentucky, because not everybody knows. A lot of people watch this show, live in those states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Kentucky, etc. Tell us what they did so that we could all vet them together. The link will be in the description box. As you could tell, this is already causing significant controversy within the Democratic Party. I don't know what they're going to do, but the last vestige of democracy we have within the Democratic Party is a convention. It's not a very good vestige, but it's the only thing that remains. And I think anointing anyone of any race, any gender, instead of just letting the delegates pick is a disastrous idea. But obviously, honest, smart people disagree. And right now, things look pretty bleak. I think the only way to get out of it is to pick the best candidate and try to fire back and beat Trump. But let's see what happens. All right, thank you for participating in the poll. And you can keep it going at tyt.com, where we'll have the polls up as well. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.